ideas flow, but never last.
Today's topics: the Dragonfly Transformation, Tea with Intention, Resonance versus Synergy, Seated Tai Chi, and the Muscle-Emotion Connection.
Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy mind.
Hello and welcome to episode 41. My guest is still Michelle Greenwell from the Be Well podcast, Dr. Michelle Greenwell, I should say that correctly. And we just did a recording on a recap for last year and where we're going to go this year. And now I would like her to introduce herself as a person who works as a healer, not so much as the podcast person, but the healer who works with others in all kinds of capacities, and her take on burnout and what can be done and how she helps people.
just a small topic.
Tiny bit.
Little
but I
topic.
know you can take that on.
All right. So for those people that haven't met me before, my background has been in dance and Tai Chi, movement to heal the body. And over my 40 years as an educator, I have walked the life of breaking the body to rebuilding it and bringing it back to thriving. It's not always there. I have little challenges that show up all along the way that introduce me to new ideas and help me to find where my next intention setting is, because of course all those signals are a part of my body giving me the ideas of where I need to go next. And so I run the Greenwell Center for Holistic Health. I am so excited about doing neuro-arts projects. So that is combining movement and music and art and herbs and sound and putting it into one package so you have an all-encompassing synesthetic kind of experience. And that takes us beyond exercise because we're supposed to do that for health. I always start in my podcast with a tea, and I do that because I set up the conversation so that you're being healed or have the healing capacity while you're listening to the podcast. And so I know Natascha has put Liberty Wine, one of our blends that we created together when we had the tea company together. And Liberty Wine is for the fire element, triple warmer and circulation. So really helping you to get that flow and balance coming in. So that's what she's sipping on. And I chose Island Vitality today. And this is about connecting to nature and really being a part of nature and listening to the messages. And it is a green tea. So green tea is high in antioxidants, but it also is a portal. And it's a portal to well-being because it brings the vibrancy back into the way that you're living. So together we have that. So Natascha, let's sip on our tea and bring that conversation into flow for everyone. And I know you have a dragonfly on your teacup today.
Yes, I do.
So the vessels we hold also are important. And you were talking about the dragonfly coming out of a situation and transforming, and that dragonfly is inspiring that transformation. Did you want to add anything to that?
Well, the dragonfly was one of the first. I have tattoos, and dragonfly, and I don't know if I can turn that right way. Was one of the first tattoos that I got to actually confirm my getting out of the burnout, the start of my new life, the new beginning, the rebirth, the shedding of my old, and then becoming that new thing that can be way more than it was before. And it's not being stuck in that space, but can fly free. And it like 2026 for me is almost like something like that. 2025 was the growing into the getting out of where you were, becoming the new you, shedding old things. And last year was a lot of shedding. Like there were so many topics and patterns that have been brought up again and again to see where you are, to test your resilience. How far have you come? Is there more stuff that you need to let go? But 2026, I think, is the year where we're going to soar, where we're going to be moving forward into new dimensions that people cannot actually fathom, because we have the awareness, we have the point where we now can dive deeper into where we want to be and what we want to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's all inside her Dragonfly cup. And inside mine, I have a present. So as I'm sipping, I'm unwrapping that present. And I'm just going to bring, I pulled a couple of cards to get us started, so that I could introduce you to the way that I work. So one is I pulled from the Harmony Coasters, which is a series of coasters. There's 11 for unwinding trauma, and the stages that you can work yourself through. If you want to, it might be a trauma, but it could be a challenge. It might be a project you're working on. So today I brought guides. So there's our past, there's our support systems, there's all the ways that guides can help us that already have the knowledge. We just have to tap into it or ask for it to come forward to us. So following the guiding light of your wisdom and your way of knowing that all you need is already inside of you. And then feel the power of timelessness that frees you from locality. And that's when we're present in the moment, time can disappear. So that is underneath my teacup, supporting the conversation. And then I pulled two cards. One is from, it's in the cards deck that we did. This one is Compassion in Action. And that is how you outreach to others to make a difference in not just your life, but in the lives of others. There's a little squirrel that just came up on the deck. And then this one, I'll show you the picture from the front. This is the artwork from Tanya Levy, one of our colleagues we've done a lot of work with together, Natascha and I. Okay, and this is the 9th chakra, the soul star, and you're going to chuckle. This is how it connects. Balance with this chakra transcends personal experience and expectation to assist all others. Compassion in action is necessary for personal growth. And the way that I operate the programs that I run and the opportunity not to be a healer, but to be a facilitator is to inspire people to find within them that connection with someone else to get the enzymes in the body moving towards healing. And it's our connection with each other to support each other. That's why always a conversation with Natascha is always that. And I love it. And when I'm working with clients, I love to work in a group setting rather than individual. I can do individual, but in a group setting, all of what we want, all of our intentions, goals come together full circle, and we support each other in all of that capacity. When we start identifying what our goals and intentions are, and we link them with other people's, and then we energetically do something. Maybe it's dance, maybe it's Tai Chi, maybe it's a course in touch for health or therapeutic touch. But when we take those techniques and bring them together, we are all in the same package moving forward. And it might be things we didn't think about were important to us, but somebody else says them and it's like, oh, that sounds cool, or oh, that would be so helpful with what I have as my ambition and my goal. And so the programs I put together now are a synesthetic experience of color, sound, emotion, the senses, movement, herbs, tea, and all of that coming together means we can have fun and play while we're goal setting and moving ourselves forward in a way that is moving us towards healing and wellness and vitality. How's that, Natascha?
It's interesting. While listening to you, I'm thinking about that. I talk a lot about resonance, but not synergy that much. And the fun part is if you resonate with somebody, you will create synergy. And the synergy of both of you will bring you further. So again, back to that part of supporting community where I work with, or what I want to install in people, and not only getting them, first of all, I want to get them back into their own bodies so they can feel and sense and not just think. But when you are in a community that you're resonating with, when you're with friends, they uplift you, they enhance your energy, they create synergy. And all of a sudden things become faster. And I know we two have had that going on since we met first, that our conversations always became so much bigger and brighter, and things that you couldn't voice before all of a sudden came out of your mouth because your synapses were firing faster. That's what I said, because like I remember we had conversations in the car years and years ago. That was 18 where we started talking about, sorry about that, my phone decided to do what it wants. Where we started talking about things, and afterwards I said I have to start recording because I cannot remember for the life of it what we talked about. I cannot remember because there were so many things that came at once, and they were all so clear when we were together. And then when we split, I like, okay, what did we talk about? What was that? You started scribbling and putting it down in paper, and I started recording on my phone because there were so many things. And I had similar experiences lately with some people when I have conversations in pre-recording or before we recording podcasts, that I started recording them at the transcript, and then using the transcript to find the points that were in there. Or when I talked with my VAs, because I find these days there's so many things coming up at once because the brain is firing so much faster, but I cannot always hold on to what's said. I cannot always remember because in the moment it's all clear, but then you get afterwards, you go like, what was that? What was that? What was that? And it's that's one of the biggest adventures that we have, I think, is getting together as a group, as a community that works with each other and that functions with each other, right?
The Chi integration program, which I started, I think 12 years ago, it was a long time ago. We're having our 24th edition of it. Which is incredible to even say that, because each time we do that class, we go in another direction. And I always have a theme of where I'm starting, but because I'm goal setting and energetically putting everything into flow, I do set up well ahead of the class where I think we're going to go. And then because I've set that up, all kinds of information starts traveling to me that's going to lead to where we're going to go from that. And this next one, my theme was innate healing. And I love talking about how when we come together, our bodies are designed to come into balance by connecting with another person. I think that's just so incredible. And the reason for community. Community is so powerful because we need that in order for us to be brought into balance. But in that process now, the material I'm working on in preparation for that being in January is magnifying every day. And I don't know where it's going to end up, but I know that when that group comes together, the conversation is going to expand beyond where any of us thought. And everybody comes from such a different walk of life, bringing their experience with them. And the oldest in the class, she's going to be 87 this year. She just turned 88. So we have the wisdom of 88 all the way down to people in their 40s. So it just is such a rich way of doing a session, if I call it that, because we could do a one-on-one session and I could support helping people find their goal and where they want to go and looking at what they need individually. And that can be very helpful. But when we're doing that weekly, oh my gosh, it's like how to start your week off. And then your week is in place, it's in flow, and then off you go. And when we come back the next week, we can't remember what we talked about the week before. We record it, but it's already gone as we've moved into the next space. And so just like you said, it is hard to hold on because you're moving at lightning speed, and it's so cool, so much fun.
It's when you are stuck in burnout or overwhelm, let's say this, don't use the word burnout, use the word overwhelm or stress. Your brain usually tries to focus to keep you safe. So it focuses on certain topics, but it doesn't allow things to let go. So you would hyper focus on one idea and totally neglect everything else that was coming with it, and miss the important parts of there's more there than you see. while your body goes like, oh, that feels right. I'll follow that feeling. I follow that sense of this is where I belong. This is where I resonate. That makes me smile. And all of a sudden, it's not important the words, but the sense of belonging, the sense of being there brings so much more freedom and peace of mind than having to hold on to that idea and follow that through and making it worse because you're following a path that's maybe not meant to be all by itself. It might need to be a branch or a tree instead of just one line. Yep. And that's what I found, like when you came into my life when I was I was not starting to get out of it, because I got started getting out of it when I met you. That was the beginning of me getting out of the burnout, because I'd done work, I've learned things that helped me, but bringing touch for health in my life and having the conversations with you and then starting to study brought forward all those holdbacks that wouldn't allow me to get a step further and a step further. I could get to a certain point, but then there came things that happened in the past that created emotional blocks that would tie me back into not moving forward, not taking the next step, or shutting myself down again. And the learning curve over the 10 years of my master's, which also I would have not started without you. That was my way out of the burnout. That was my growing up. That was getting into my own skin, becoming myself and becoming the person I am today. So you've been a huge part of that since you kicked me into doing my master's. I lovingly called you my shit kicker, instigator. And I'm grateful for that, because again, if you would not have said, why not try this, do here, do that, I would have never thought about that, because I was so stuck in my mind and so stuck in that I got to be safe, which I never realized how shut down I actually was when we met.
So I'm going to put a wrench into that, because I'm going to introduce the idea that that's not my reality of what happened.
It's mine. I never said it's yours. It's mine.
Exactly, which is so interesting, because as you were talking about the synergy of our conversations and where we went, you introduced me to therapeutic touch. Our introduction into therapeutic touch led us down an incredible journey with the therapeutic touch community, advancing conversations in different ways and advancing concepts. And those concepts they now use without realizing where they even came from, because the conversation has been forgotten. But all of that was not from a place of burnout. That was all from a place of discovery and awareness. And so for me, on the other side, I saw a different aspect. So it's really interesting what lens that we look through, and then what that lens can tell us. And if we change the lens on experience, because we can sit in the lens in that one capacity, but what happens if we can change the lens? If you were to look through the lens that I was looking through, what would happen? And if I looked through your lens at my own stuff, what would happen? And then that gives us a really interesting way to start to discover some of our blind spots, right?
And that's basically what you did for me. You and I'm not saying that didn't happen the way you said it. That's not what I'm saying. But my
it's just our perspective.
My beginning was like when we met, I was at the point where I could start getting out of it, right? And you were part of the healing path by challenging me, not in a bad way, but just to bringing me into my thinking, bringing me out of that. And that's what I do with people by asking questions. And that's what you did with me. And I just realized that, because every time we did something, we said something, what is this? How would this work? And by asking those questions, you got me out of my stuckness, which I now do with other people by asking questions. I don't know if you ever realized that you do that with people.
Yeah, I do. I ask a lot of questions, and I enjoy I enjoy seeing what does it look like through a different lens. I love finding out what that means and asking the question, is it true? If we've been telling ourselves that story for a long time, is it true?
Well,
And did we just accept something, you know?
That's what I said, like with the reflection before. It's a lot of where I question myself, what did I do and how did I do? But as I said, also is having those conversations the last year in the podcast with people. I learned so much about myself, the way that I function today and how I come to function today. And that with the question, that was just the next aha moment, because I never realized that you instigated. But it's wonderful. And that's what I mean is like the synergies that come together and the resonance that comes together when we start working with each other, when we start interacting with each other. And it doesn't have to mean that we physically work in one space, but just having a conversation already can mean we work together, because we're bringing different thoughts, different ideas, different ways of thinking to the table. And then you can take that or you can let it go. And that's what I tell people, my clients, is when they come and I need note, like music, sound is so controversial sometimes, because people come and say, I need this note. And so why do you need this note? Yeah, because so-and-so says I need this note for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so here's two different bowls. I don't even know what notes they are. I just say, there's two different bowls. Just play them. Which one makes you smile? Oh, this one. I said, uh-huh. And now, so we're switching through. And then all of a sudden, it's still the first one that made them smile. And that's what you need. It's not a certain note. It's the resonance that makes you smile. The resonance that makes you interact with it, that makes you want to hold on to it, that makes you feel well, is what you need, because that's your healing. It doesn't matter if that's an E and F or whatever, right? Take ideas from others and theories from others as starting points, and then see if they work for you. And if they don't, then just let it go, because it doesn't help. It doesn't help getting stuck on somebody's opinion.
Well, and the other piece is you took someone in a conversation from so-and-so told me that I need this note for, and that's going to be something that needs to be healed. But what you said was, which one makes you smile? So you took them out of, I don't know, arthritis as an example. I have arthritis. The tone for arthritis is, and again, I'm making this up because I have no idea what people would need. So let's say F. And so I have arthritis, so I need the tone of F, and that's going to solve arthritis. Well, what happens when you don't have arthritis anymore? And your body is still trying to cue you because you didn't change any other behaviors. Now, what is it going to have to create in order for you to hear the message it's trying to send? But what you said was, what makes you smile? And that's where you want to go. You want to go to the places that bring you enjoyment and joy and love and that passion. And you ask them to focus forward rather than where they're stuck. And that is so important, because the tone was not F to solve arthritis. The tone was, what do I need to have joy? And that's what I'm bringing forward. It's beautiful. Thank you.
That's if you take the principle, when we learn therapeutic touch, one of our principles, we cannot cure you. We cannot heal you. We cannot cure you. We can create balance in your life to create quality of life, right? We can create the circumstances for your innate healing potential to occur. If you take that in complete faith and go for, this is what I need. It's not that I have to be healed. I have to have joy in my life. I have quality in my life. I have times where I smile and where I'm not being pulled down. And that comes back down to frequency. Lower frequencies is everything below neutral, emotional wise. If you're above neutral, you're living a healthier life because you're living in a higher frequency. Do I need to know which frequency that is? No. I just need to know that it makes me smile. It makes me feel well. I like it. I'm thriving in it. I feel like I'm bathing in sunshine. If I like sunshine. That's the other part. If you like it dark, then and that's where it becomes so hard for people to tell, or for I always struggle when people say, this is the way to go. This is the pill to fix. there is no one way.
Mm-hmm.
We are too individual. We are made of too many parts to be all the same. And we have too many different ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions to be at the same platform. So if somebody comes to me and says, you have to do it, I say, no. I'll try it, but I don't have to. And if it doesn't work for me, I can let it go.
Well, and it's going to depend too, what is your goal? And if you didn't have a goal in that direction, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You know, this is really good for you for whatever. Okay, but is that even in a priority in your body?
And
or in your life?
Typical example of that makes you smile or makes you feel well is the tea again. Remember releasing the warrior. We have one tea that we created together for the wood element, which I have a really bad relationship with when I don't need it. When I don't need it.
I just say to people, it's a love-hate relationship. This one tea, and it picks you.
Yeah.
It picks you when the moment is right.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's so funny because I cannot even smell it. But when I need it, it's the most delicious tea ever. And that's resonance, right? That's the point. If it doesn't resonate with me, it doesn't. Yeah. But when I need it, it will resonate. And that's what people don't realize.
And people, when they smell that tea, it's really interesting. Other ones, they go, oh, that's beautiful. Releasing the warrior, they go, oh, that's the dandelion. No, that's the dandelion, or that's the clove. That, like, they identify a particular smell within it that comes to them, but it's different for everybody. It's the most interesting blend because there isn't another one like it. And I mean, there's now over 70, so there's a lot of choices, but that one blend it picks you. And it knows when it's time for you to releasing the warrior is really do the transformation. And it'll pick you when that time is right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting to put that in relation to resonance. And I didn't do that before. So to get back to the tea for a second, because the tea was a big support for me with the burnout, with the overwhelm, because the tea would be a cup of tea in the morning to keep my energy supported during the day. And the energy being supported would allow me not to be as mentally challenged during the day, which is very interesting concept for most people, because what can a cup of tea do? But basically, if you know to muscle monitor and you can find the herbs for you that work, you can go and buy Cape Breton Tea Company tea with intention and work with that package. But for the basic people who are at home who have, I don't know how many teas I have at home. I don't even think about it. But if you have 2 or 3 teas at home and you have herbs in your shelf, you can muscle monitor, which will support you through the day. And you will have a tea blend in your hand that you can then infuse with intention to be supported through the day. And you have the full protocol. I'm not talking about that. They can reach out to you and talk about that with you directly. But having seen the changes in me with the right tea for the times when I needed it, it was eye-opening. And I'm one of the ones who created that with you. And still I went like, I cannot believe that's happened.
I say it too. You know, and I don't do a meeting without tea. I'm very specific on how I go into projects or meetings with people where we're talking about new content. I'm very specific on how I'm going to choose the tea that's going to come along for that conversation. And what we accomplish in a meeting is unbelievable. And in a direction that I never imagined, which is the other beautiful thing, because you can set your compass for where you want to go, but we don't know what we don't know. So we don't know the pieces that are missing to help us get there. And then as they start to arrive or come in through these conversations, and it's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And now look where we are. That is so much different than coming together with a to-do list of we want to do a silent auction, right? And
Yeah.
who do we need to reach out with? What are the tasks we need to have accomplished? Who's going to do which task? That's completely different
Yeah.
than what do we want to do as a result of that. Yeah.
Well, and also when you take, like, again, people don't realize that whatever you change in you will influence everybody else. So if you drink the tea to balance for the group, with the intention to balance for the group, not just for you, because again, it's intentional. If you drink the tea to balance for the group, or to balance for your conversation to flow freely and German words, English words, constructively, then it will bring that to the table, because you set the energy, they set the intention, and you bring forward with the tea the possibility of the energy to shift, which is such an easy tool.
Mhm.
It's
And what I love saying to people when they're listening to the podcast, right? I set it up as a healing podcast. I have a formula in there. We set you up with the tea, and I never know what my guest is going to be drinking. They have a script that I work with, so they know what tea I've chosen. They know which herbs I've chosen, but sometimes they'll choose different herbs. Sometimes they'll choose some of the same ones. And so we're drinking the same, but we can bring the conversation of what they've brought to the table and what I've brought to the table. Same as we did today, because you've got Liberty wine.
yeah,
So powerful.
I'm not that how to say that. I have no protocol for Ramblings of a Busy Mind, because I wanted a free flow conversation. So my intention was different than yours. Again, the intentional space is different. And also I think a lot of my guests are coming from a different field than yours. So there's some healers in there, but a lot of my people are just people who have overcome their stress and burnout, or they have dealt with it, and their story can help others. And that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be in a very open field, a very inviting space for everybody, like holding the space basically for others. While you have a very focused healing perspective and intention that is different from my setup. And that's the beauty in it. There's no one for all. There's different ways to go about things. There's different perspectives, and all of them bring together the intention of healing, the intention of offering possibilities, the intention of offering perspectives, giving you more information than you had before. And does it have to be only one way? No, it doesn't. That's what I love about our work. Like, you do your work in a certain way, I do mine in a different way, because we come from different platforms. Doesn't mean we negate each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Always food for thought when we leave our conversations, which is always great.
Yeah. A lot of food for thought.
Yeah, especially as we're going into 2026, and today is a transformational day. And then we have the solstice coming up, and then 2026 is part of a three years program kind of that's out there energetically. And so some of it is to sit and really be present, which is what you're inviting all of your listeners to do, is sit and be present, really know where you are in space and time, and be present so that you can let space and time go, but find it and then let it go. And once you're there, then you have the inspiration of those next little pieces, and you can start to cultivate that as you move into the second and third year. But 2026 is really finding the gems in our life. And maybe you don't have any gems sitting there, and you think, you know what, I need a few more gems. So I need to go meet people this year. I need to find new people to communicate with. Or maybe you have the gems there, but you haven't appreciated some of the gifts they've been offering to you that you haven't received. And then to be aware, this person has these qualities, and here's some of the things I'd love to learn more about in this year. And then be able to bring that forward.
I believe a lot of people are undervaluing themselves. They think they're not. Why would they meet with people? Why would people want to meet with them? But all of us have to bring something to the table. All of us have a story that we can share. All of us have some bit and piece of wisdom that others don't have, or we know a little bit more about knitting than others, or don't dim your light just because you think you're not worth it. That's one of the biggest things. Go out there, start talking, or just start listening, and you will listen and you will hear that people talk about things that you might know something about, that you can talk about. But if you're sitting at home and not getting out into other circles and meeting different people, you will never know. You're limiting yourself to that hole that you dig yourself in, instead of going out and finding opportunities.
And you know, we're creatures that require connection.
Mm-hmm.
So when we deny ourselves connection, we deny many people the opportunity to bloom because of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that denying shuts us down.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have to consider our role in reaching out. And it's not that it has to be going to a great big room full of people. It doesn't have to be. It can be going to the grocery store and smiling at the clerk and saying, "How is your day?" Just that interaction can transform how their whole day could go, because you decided just to go to the store. And you decided not to just rush through, put your head down, pay for your thing, and off you go. You actually thought, "I'm going to make a connection today." And it makes it so much richer when we realize those two interactions in our day might be the only ones we have, but they were transforming. And tomorrow, maybe we have 3.
Because you're seen. You're not invisible anymore. That's the point. When you smile at somebody and the person smiles back, or when you smile at somebody, the person feels seen. The person will feel, so you give them their visibility. Same
Mhm.
thing happens for you. And
Mhm.
I love driving the taxi out of that reason, because I have conversations with all kinds of people. And for the most part, it's not deep conversations, but just seeing the smile on their face when they get out. Or I did food bank deliveries on Tuesday as part of taxi driving, and seeing the smiles and wishing them a Merry Christmas made me happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there anything better? It's so easy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's so undervalued.
Yeah. I have 2 awards that I get to offer on behalf of a very, very dear friend of ours, Pius McIsaac, who passed away several years ago. And I have 2 guitars that I get to gift. But oh my gosh, what it felt like to go to, I had to purchase the second guitar. The first one was given to us to be able to offer. But I had to go purchase it, and it was like being Santa Claus. I was so excited to go down to the store and pick that up, and then knowing that the passing forward of those 2 guitars is going to change how those 2 children are going to think about music and what they're good at, which is exactly the message that Pius was all about. And Pius spent, so much of his day would be texting with people saying, "How are you? I'm thinking of you today." And he had hundreds of people that he connected with every day to make sure that they were seen. And I just love the message of his life, what it has meant, and to be able to continue to pass that forward. I don't do it as well because I don't do 100 people a day like he could do, but every little piece that I touch, I try to make it impactful.
Pius was the embodiment of that principle of being there, seeing other people. And I know every time I met him anywhere, he was like, it was all smiles for me. I just seeing Pius made me happy. Right.
Yeah.
And I know he didn't have an easy life, and other people would probably have given up with his life, but he decided to shine his light for all of us and be out there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
There's quite a few people in your life, when you really look, there's quite a few people in your life that don't have it easy and still they smile every day. Right?
Yeah.
And the interesting part too is that when you start smiling at people, when you go grocery shopping and whatever, it becomes natural. Sorry, I have a dog nose here.
Yeah.
It becomes natural. Like I don't even realize that I smile at people, because for me it's so natural that it's not an effort. I don't have to put effort to it. I'm happy when I see people, and I always find funny situations when I go shopping. There's something smile, and then you put in, like, you see something, you go like, ah, yeah, you make a comment that's comical, or that's pulling out the humor in the situation, and all of a sudden everybody around you is just juggling. It's easy. And you feel how the mood lifts, how everything becomes lighter, instead of being like, oh yeah, I gotta do shopping, I gotta right, all of that. And life can be, it's not that it takes away from the hardness that's there, or the hard things that you have to cope with, but it makes it easier to deal with them.
Yeah, absolutely. The Mission for Change Community Tea is one that 100% supports the Moyle family in Malawi. And the Moyle family has 23 family members, 3 adults, and the rest are all kids, and trying to get them to stay together, to have food on their table, which is really difficult. Malawi has been hit by so many storms, and they get torrential rains, and then it just dries up and it's desert. And so they can have a crop ready to go, and then it just is completely covered in water, and then crocodiles come in and they can't harvest, even if they could get to it. So the Moyle family remind me when they're communicating, you know, their challenges are real life and death challenges. Ours are inconveniences, really, because for the most part, we have a support net. We have a roof over our head. We have expensive food, but we have food choices. And it's up to us to make those choices the best we can. But it does really ground and bring purpose back. And for the Cape Breton Tea Company, it also is a way to realize how much we need to outreach with that compassion and action and make a difference for other people. And it's selfish of us to hold back and not be that communicator, because that's what makes us thrive. And it's just so important to our well-being, and then the well-being of all the people around us.
The outreach, that's also one point. The outreach doesn't have to be money. That's one thing that people don't realize. It's not about the money. It's about being there, showing up. And you can do that just by saying, good morning, how are you today?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which support in a form of connection is more important than spending millions of dollars when there's no interaction. That's the thing that I learned lately a lot. I mean, I've been practicing it, but it's never been become so much to the forefront in my realization that yes, I could spend money on somebody, but it doesn't really help them. But if I show up, if I give them a hand, if I'm there and if I'm present and if I listen, often that's more worth, and it empowers them more to get out of their stuff themselves and do more and get into a different state of mind, which allows them then to be more active out in the world, be better at their job or whatever. Just by being there and communicating and listening and not judging, not telling them what to do, but just being there for them makes such a difference. And that's where I love holding the space so much, because it's such an unintrusive way of supporting somebody else without any expectation.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have a very needy dog. He shifted to the other side. I don't know what it is today.
Well, let me see. He went to your right side for energy out, and he's now on the left side for energy in.
Yeah, and before he was at my feet, so he was grounding me. And then in between, he was walking around.
Very smart dog.
No, he's good, and he's excellent actually in sessions. So if I do in-person sessions, he knows exactly when the person needs comfort, and he stays in the room and he stays with me, same as the cats did. Like Tigger did the same. He would sit on people, purr, so he wouldn't just get sound. No, he would get the purr of the cat too. I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens with Phoebe now after Tigger is not bullying her anymore. As much as he was an energy cat, he was a pest to her. So yeah, it's interesting to see the dynamics shift in this house with him being in his energetic state differently than he was there. But yeah, it's gonna be different for sure. But also,
and when you realize that's what our pets are doing, right? And Pico was in here at the start of the previous episode we recorded and present, but then he was ready to go. That's all you need from me. I'm on my way, and I love it. Yeah.
And they also, like, I would recommend anybody has a pet, honestly, because they are our emotional companion. They are usually very in tune with what you do and how you react and how you respond with stuff, and they bring you back to normal. With a pet, first of all, with a pet, you have no excuse not to function. That's one. But on the other hand, how much joy do they bring in my life? And that's, again, the part of raising my frequency. How often do I juggle? I have a challenge, like doing one thing that makes me laugh each day, going play ball with him. Either I feel like the idiot because I'm slipping on ice, and then sit there and I'm like, why do you do that? But it's still, I chuckle about myself being out there thinking those things, and then also the way that I behave with him, I'm like, yeah, it's one of my favorite parts of the day. Do I like that it's cold outside? No, but I go out and then I have fun with him. Right,
and he gets you moving.
He gets me moving. Yeah, he gets me moving quite a bit.
And with the Blue Zone research that they did, what creates longevity for those areas in the world where people are living to be the oldest, it's having purpose. That is the number one key piece. You need purpose. And our pets need us to be there. And if we step out on them, that's it. So they need to, one, be able to trust us, and two, know that we're going to be walking them, feeding them, making sure that they're okay, and supporting them emotionally. So they are a great asset to what promotes longevity.
Yeah, and talking about purpose, I see that in my parents. Being 83 and 81, they are, no, mom's turning 83, but they are, if mom wouldn't have her garden and would set her own chores that she wants to do, like she wants to do this and she wants to do that, so she has her goals that she sets, and that's what keeps her going, because if she wouldn't have those, it would be just sitting down and withering. And as a I think having a goal is your engine in life. If you have no goal, you have no drive. But on the other hand, learning how to set that goal correctly in a positive way for you, that it's optimized for you, that it's not just wishy-washy. It then creates the flow in the right direction, not in the right direction, the flow in the direction that will bring you forward, that will move you forward, that will enhance your life and not take back from your life. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you want to know more about tea to support you, and Michelle has so much more things that she does. Or if you want to talk about synesthesia. No, I'm not saying that. Workshops. Just reach out to her. Her information will all be on the bottom of the conversation, of the caption, and she's a great person to have conversations. And the other thing is she has how many episodes? 200.
250 episodes. And I would say don't start at the beginning.
No,
start
just
in
pick one.
season 5. Start in season 5. If you want to check out the trilogies, we have Sound for Healing. We have Spirituality. We went on a deep dive into quantum physics and for healing. Several on spirituality, actually. And those deep dives allow you a new way to look at conversations. And then we had the lovely Kate Montgomery and Denise Cambiotti shining a light on how Touch for Health has impacted the way that they've done their work and where their work has gone. And Kate worked with Ironmen, sports enthusiasts and professional musicians. So she has some really interesting testimonials that she shares. So that's a great way to get into the conversations of what Natascha and I have been dabbling in for a long time. But if you do go to my YouTube channel at Michelle Greenwell, there are several playlists. Help yourself. We have a magnifying world peace project that Marian Egan and I have been doing for the last 6 months, video each week on how you can magnify peace in your life. And some of the videos of things we've done, we had no idea where peace was found within that. It was a lot of fun to put that together. So please check that out. And we have, for 2026, we have 2 retreats coming February and March, and then an 8-day retreat in August on Cape Breton Island. So anybody wanting to come to where we live.
If you're looking for starting to get back into your body and get more awareness of your body, Michelle is also a Tai Chi teacher, and she has videos on her YouTube channel. And on yours personally, or Tai Chi Cape Breton? What do you have?
Nope, it's on my playlist. It's on my channel, and the playlist is Tai Chi Wellness. You have to scroll through all the playlists to the very bottom, and then you'll find that playlist, and it has 94 videos in it. And lots of resources.
Her Tai Chi teachings gave me a very keen awareness of my body and how to stretch and whatever to reach the points and where points are. So I did Tai Chi, and the seated Tai Chi, if you're not very able to move a lot, the seated Tai Chi is actually more advantage than the standing. I find it's actually more I don't want to say taxing because it sounds so bad, but it actually gets your body more deeper, in a deeper level than the standing Tai Chi does.
Yeah, the discoveries in the seated Tai Chi are incredible. And from my dissertation work, where I played with the spiritual essence and the emotions along the spine, I have been playing with the Touch for Health material of which muscles relate to which part of the spine, relate to which emotions, and then I bring that through the Tai Chi knowledge. And it's a beautiful deep dive. People are discovering all kinds of things about how their body's been signaling them, but they didn't know how to listen, and they didn't know how to transform that signal into something usable. And that's what we've been doing. So you won't quite get that out of the Tai Chi Wellness playlist, but if you go to the events on the greenwellcenter.com, then you can see the different programs that are running that you might want to participate in. And we record all of those so you can watch them at your own time, or you can join us live.
I can highly recommend working with Michelle, and I send people her way all the time. So thank you, Michelle, for coming in. It was a pleasure as always. We should do that more often. And I hope to see you more this year in 2026 than I saw you in 2025 because we are all so busy. But yeah, no, I'm excited for 2026, what it will bring and what new exciting things we can put to the table.
I feel like I should get into, forget the name of the taxi, you know, where they do the contest.
The karaoke
cash cab. Cash cab. I feel like I should go to Port Hawkesbury and I should jump in your cab, and then we see what discovers. It would just be a riot to walk around.
You would be surprised. There's quite a few surprises when you drive the taxi. I tell you that.
Oh,
but
this
also
was
very,
so much
very
fun.
interesting conversations. That's the other part. Like, and if you're open to that you're not restricted in your space where you do your work or where you do your healing, where you have your conversations, and conversations can happen everywhere. That's the neat part.
And I try to operate every day. Every interaction I have is a healing interaction. It is automatically, but I try to have that intention at the forefront. So when I think about you in the cab and somebody gets in, they're just going for that cab ride to get from point A to point B.
No.
And you transform them as soon as they've stepped in before they get out. So it's not a cash cab. We got to come up with some other title for you.
The healing cab.
because
I'll
it
approach,
is a transformation
I'll
experience.
approach my boss if he wants to put a cap out for that.
There we go. New Year's.
Okay.
Thank you, Natascha.
Thank you so much, and see you soon.
Thoughts are racing, spinning fast. Ideas flow, but never last. Waves of wonder, thoughts untamed. Nothing ever stays the same.